Flogcast may occasionally contain explicit content that makes it not safe for work or for minors. It also doesn't provide an excuse to use the same words on Bay 13. Normal Big Footy rules still apply.
Alright, so this is the Flogcast for round 4. The membership microwave from Richmond, Starburns, is here, and I'm joined by proud sponsor of James H from Collingwood, Morgan Ashley.
Hello.
Mr. Moral Victory himself from St Kilda, Cooksen.
Those umpires are rigged, I tell you.
The brains behind Hawthorn's new membership slogan, Penal.
Hi there.
And he's back from his leave of absence. He's too young to retire yet because he's from North, Dan.
59 minutes. Keep going.
Just before we go into Gore Tears, this is a big episode for us. This is episode number 100. That includes the outtakes episodes, but this is the 100th, but not the April Fool's one. But yeah, we've hit 100 episodes. We've been talking shit for 100, effectively 100 fucking weeks worth.
See, Freo, this is how you do it. You get to 100 and then you can celebrate.
This is what it feels like to get to 100 and still not win.
No, the teach scores.
Well, I
Tells us-
score.
Yeah, he scores hundreds, that's for sure.
I score, I just don't talk about it.
Northern Lights isn't allowed to either. You got in trouble for that this week. I'm pretty sure I saw that somewhere. Or maybe it was last week's episode, actually.
Well, aren't there laws against that anyway?
Shut up, Penal.
Let's go to Gillon Tears. Who wants to go first?
Yeah,
Yeah.
I'll bring some goo. So how about some goo for Shawnee Burgoyne? You know,
You can go
the
Sicily.
silky
I thought you were going to
master.
go Sicily.
Yeah, no, but it was Sean Burgoyne who kind of moved up in the middle in the last quarter and led the team in contested possessions and, you know, all the good stuff that he's been doing for years at Hawthorn. Really underappreciated still by many outside the club. He's an absolute champion, and it
Yeah, I
was
don't
memories of
appreciate
memories of that prelim against Geelong a couple of years ago. Sadly, Teach isn't here to share in those memories
No
with
Andrew
me.
Swallow, is he, Dan?
Leave him alone.
See, I'd hate it if our number 9, you know, wearing the legendary number 9 at Hawthorn that people have won Brownlows in, Croft and Dipper recently. I'd hate it if that went to someone as fucking shit as Swallow. Tarnish that legacy. Just a little bit of goo for Sicily as well. I mean, it's just still only a 6th game. Want to keep the lid on a bit. Don't want to make any premature calls. But he's going to be an absolute superstar.
Serious. Absolute superstar. Just one thing on Burgoyne before we've finished on him. Is he going to be remembered as a Hawk or a Port player? Seriously, by the time his career's over.
Walk.
Hawthorn.
Absolutely walk.
A Hawk, yeah.
Well, he
Fantastic.
did his best.
Barely
He
even
did his
remember
best
he played
work
before.
at Port Adelaide, but he'll be remembered as a Hawthorn player.
Yeah, he will.
Well,
He's a
he plays game 300 in round 5, and I think later this year he goes past his games tally at Port with us. So I think by the time he retires, he'll definitely be more games and obviously more premierships with us. So
Do Port have any champions that
Definitely.
are actually theirs? Because Wanganine's technically an Essendon champion. We won at Brownlow and Flag at Essendon.
Treaderay.
Well, he's mostly famous for the phone.
and Primus, I guess, was obviously the captain in the flag year, but he's probably more remembered now for his shit coaching. the first to enter the Coach Killers Hall of Fame. Let's not forget.
I guess.
First time round each time too, I think. Let's
Yeah, he was.
Beaten by Gold Coast and the bye. God, it's not good on your CV.
and the
is it?
Giants.
And the Giants.
The Giants were the ones who killed him in the end. They were the coach killers. Who's next with Gore Tears?
I have tears for the second most ineffectual captain in the league and the worst halfback flanker
Oh.
I've ever seen.
Oh.
Fuck off, Scott Pendlebury.
Oh,
Fuck off.
you're kidding.
If
In his
I
defence, he's
shush,
injured.
Shush, Cookie. I must release this. I cannot sit by and watch you saunter off the half back line and be unaccountable and just chip scab fucking shit possessions that are not damaging to the opposition. Get in the middle or get the fuck out.
He's sore. He's got sore ribs.
I can't care any less than I do about his ribs.
If I didn't watch the game,
you are fit and you fucking play in a position where you are damaging.
Yeah, well, I guess that makes sense about the ribs because you record after hurting your finger, so I guess he should harden up and play with broken ribs, yeah?
Record after hurting my finger. I recorded
and your toe.
My toe.
Multiple toes, in fact.
Yeah, correct. I turn up all the time injured and still deliver rolled gold to you plebs. And
you lost your voice yelling at him too, didn't you?
I sounded like fucking RuPaul drag queen 2 hours ago. And I'm still here. Teach, absolute piss week, not here because he's sick. I'm still...
I thought this is Pendlebury.
No, I don't care. Everyone's getting a whack. Pendlebury, get into the middle or fuck off.
No, I agree 100%. Like, if I hadn't watched the game, I would say shit call. But the Saints, they exploited him. Like, whoever was on Pendlebury, they targeted him, and they got so many easy goals just by going through Pendlebury's opponent.
Exactly the same thing that happened the week before when we let a first gamer kick 3 goals on Scott Pendlebury. A first gamer. Fuck off, Scott. You're not a defender. If you cannot man up, do not play in the back line. You're not setting a good example.
Does this go back to the days of Collingwood's unaccountable front-running midfield?
Yes, because nothing's changed except we just took them out of the midfield. That's it. Now they don't even front run. They just back run.
It's funny how they come up with that. Like, let's take all the unaccountable people who can't defend. Let's take them out of the midfield and put them in our back line. Who came up with that idea?
Fucking Buckley.
Coaching masterstroke.
I would like to say I have goo for exactly the same reasons. I mean, our midfield just fucking destroyed Collingwood. I mean, Stephen, 30 in freed. Maverick Weller kicked 3 goals. Billings was just running around by himself. No one went within 100 metres of Montagna. A tremendous midfield performance. And I thank Buckley for putting your best midfielder in the defensive line. So, great coaching.
He had sore ribs, Cookie.
Oh, excuses.
He's going to have more than sore ribs if he fucking stays there.
He had one on the bench for the last quarter, and I saw Saints players dig deep and attack. It's all about bravery, proper bravery.
Oh, fuck off. Congratulations on the best win you've had at the G in 10 years, dickheads.
10 or 50?
Oh, yeah. Yeah, since 66.
Dan.
Goo for a change. Oh, I can't remember the last time North were 3-0 at the start of the season.
The enthusiasm you said that with definitely sounded gooey.
What else? Oh, Burma just 20-6, as you could do. Patent. We can't call him Patent anymore. He's arrived.
So what do we call him?
Arrival.
Arrival.
We call him Arrival. I think he's one behind leading in the Coleman.
Yeah, he's right up there.
Mailman, because he's arrived.
He's delivered.
What is he?
He's the mailman.
Because he's finally delivered.
The package. He's the real package. He's arrived.
I'm going to call him Australia Post because he has delivered.
The mailman. Yeah, I like that.
So what do we call him? The mailman?
The mailman.
Mailman.
And then if he struggles, we call him the fail man. If he goes back to Carlton Wade, he's the fail man.
The mailman is on fire. It cannot be denied.
Fair enough. I've got tiers. I've overarching tiers for Richmond, but it's got to be focused. Like I could say a lot of things, but I'll be brief, and I'll just say it's the coach.
Being as long as you like. We've got all the time in the world.
No, we don't.
We've got 2 hours.
Yeah, no. The plan A was shit. He doesn't have a plan B normally. The plan A was terrible. They literally let 3 crows behind the ball all game, and no one to kick to. It was comically bad. It was awful, and it took him most of the game to realise that wasn't gonna fucking work. And honestly, Penal once said we're boring, and this was the closest I've ever felt to us being like Ross Lyon coach team. He was playing for. I don't know how he wanted to win because I don't know how he thought he was going to score.
Was he maybe playing to try and save his career. It's a bit early for that.
Maybe, clearly the players didn't know what the plan was this week again, what they were supposed to be doing, and to prevent that, they actually hid from the media. He hid them from the media this week, which that's soft as butter.
Yep.
That's fucking.
A
fucking bad.
wise man once said, "The Crows do all right at the Dome."
And they did.
And they did.
We were up against it, yeah, because the Crows have a fantastic record at the Dome.
Absolutely.
But yeah, they didn't even front the players, which was soft. If you're getting whacked, you front up and you fight back, and that displays a certain level of softness and fear of the media. Like, if you're afraid of the media, God, wait till you get to
And
Perth.
who was
and
that?
Boo
That
crowd.
solely Hardwick's decision to cut out.
I imagine it would have been discussed at some point. The discussion would have gone, we're getting killed here. Don't put a player in front of the media in case they say what Asprey said last week.
I think it was discussed on 360, and they voted that it'd be someone like the higher up, like board level, like bigger than just say the communications department or the football department. It would have to be seriously a higher up that makes that call.
Well, but they would have fronted if we won.
It does give the
basically.
impression of a club that's kind of in crisis mode, or maybe not crisis, but certainly trying to save face a bit
Zach
and
Hardwick.
not like.
Well, let's face it. If they'd won, they wouldn't have blocked the media.
No, sack Hardwick. It's become farcical. I wanted him sacked last year, but it's got to happen soon, and we need to get our replacement lined up before Fremantle sack Ross Lyon.
Who's that replacement?
Brett Ratton?
Fuck no. I don't know, but it's got to be someone because it's not him. They got to find a coach.
Maybe you guys need to revisit another Terry Wallace 5-year plan.
You know what? A Terry Wallace type coach is probably one that's a better motivator, but a Terry Wallace type coach is exactly what we need right now. We've had a development coach, and he's taken them as far as he can, and he's
And a
too
5-year
soft.
plan.
And he's not a tactician. And
Get Grant Thompson.
Anyway, no, thank you. Let's move on to, let's go to the recaps, and we're going to be changing things up from now on, and we're not going to talk about every game because there are games that don't matter. We're not going to go into detail within every game. So we'll begin with there were two games that stood out this weekend, clearly, and Melbourne versus North is the first one I think we got to look at.
Good ruck duel between Goldstein and
Yeah.
Gillon. I mean, Goldstein got
won?
5.
Epic.
Gillon's, I think
I had
Gillon
no
got more
fucking
touches,
clue
hit outs,
who won
but Goldstein kicked
Well, they
5.
both had exactly the same amount of champion data ranking points at the end of the game, so it was a literal tie.
that. I think one had more than the other. But anyway, you shouldn't judge a player's performance based on Supercoach points. But I mean,
It's all about the scoreboard, isn't it, Dan?
well, yeah, there is that, but they just went berserk for the whole game. I mean, I've never seen a ruckman play predominantly as a ruckman and kick that amount of goals in a game before. It was quite bizarre. And then you've got Gawn, who just dominated Goldstein in the stoppages, and it's hard to tell who you would give the maximum points to because they both had pretty strong.
Is it 3 and 2 though? 3 votes and 2
Oh, for
votes?
those two, definitely, yeah.
Regardless of the order you put them in, probably Boomer sneaks the one.
Well, umpires have done
How
done
typical
stupider
Prince
things.
sneaking one out the back.
Sneaking out the back was the only chip scab in the.
Yeah, Chips scabbed 6 of them, bastard.
Oh, yeah, and you must have missed all the other goals he kicked where he kicked it from like 60 or against the rim.
He can't kick 60.
60.
He did. He kicked a goal from like 60 metres.
Might
He
be
had a
60.
break.
How many
Yeah,
times
no,
did it bounce?
With a fucking 30-meter wind at his back.
It's still a 60-metre kick. There was that other one that just bended it like Beckham. He kicked a lot of really good goals. Yes, a couple of them were Joe the Goose ones, but that's just Boomer being smart and putting himself in the right positions.
Front running, they call that. It's Pendlebury-esque.
As I was going to say, umpires do silly things, and they could very well give Brent 3 votes for that game. I saw Goldstein last year had BOG games, and he got 0 votes.
That does happen with underappreciated positions like ruck and forward and key defender.
Yep.
The other thing out of that game that was interesting was Petrie had to come off with the blood rule late, and Brad Scott's had a sulk about the interchange cap because he wasn't allowed to come back on. Isn't that a management thing? You should really have some up your sleeve just in case someone gets injured.
Well, I think they used their last one with like 1 minute to go, and they, you don't think you're going to have a blood rule or something, but it happens, and I don't see it as a big deal. I mean,
I thought I read it was 3 minutes to go.
oh,
The last
well,
one
it
was
could have
missed.
been. I'm not sure, but I mean, the player was allowed to be replaced.
He has to be, otherwise someone could get AIDS.
No, well, I thought that if you've maxed out your cap, he comes off and you can't replace him. but he was able to
No,
replace him.
you can for blood, I think.
Blood and injuries, you can replace them, but they just can't go back on, I think.
Okay.
So, like, I imagine someone's going to pull a dodgy on an injury at some stage because that is a shifty thing. But yeah, blood, you can't play with them out there. That's the rule.
So hang on. So you reckon players are going to like cut themselves and then reveal themselves to the umpires and go, "Oh, I've got blood. I need
No,
to."
you'd like feign a hamstring.
Yeah, feign a hamstring, or like Luke Hodge is great at looking injured.
Hanbury.
Joel Selwood just has to brush his eyebrow and he start bleeding.
Oh, that guy has so much scar tissue on his face. You just need to kiss him and he'll start bleeding.
But no, I did notice that was quite interesting. Nothing else on that game?
It was an epic game to watch, high scoring, something you wouldn't get usually from a Melbourne game, that's for sure.
No, or Paul
Or
Roos.
no.
Ross Lyon did not like the game.
I will say one thing about it. Thomas Bugg, that last kick in there, if he had gone on his right, I don't think he's got a right foot, but if he had gone on his right, he would have been
Players
a
who
better chance of
have
hitting that
nerve
target
take
direct.
that shot, others panic.
He doesn't have a right foot, I don't think. That's why he took it. He was wrong-sided. And if he had have gone on his right for the pass, he would have been able to put it out in front. But he went the inside-out left, and that's... You know how those sit up when you go inside-out? They kind of float, and that's what killed the guy trying to mark it. If he'd gone on his right, he could have hit him out in front.
Oh well,
But
bad luck Melbourne, 10 years of being our bitch.
one-sided players. Like, speaking of long periods of not having beaten anyone, it's been a while since the Dogs beat Hawthorn, and that streak remains intact because they won't play again this year.
Following on what Penal said, Sean Burgoyne is probably the best match winner in the league. I mean, he's just a fucking jet when Hawks need him to be a jet.
So clutch.
Oh, clutch. Love that description.
It's funny that the Dogs choked by having 2-on-1 in their defensive line with Bob Murphy against two people. I mean, they choked, along with Tom Boyd being a useless shit truck again.
Tom
His
Boyd.
knee at that point in time, but anyway.
I love how there's goo being spilled over Tom Boyd's game. It's just like, he had, 14 disposals, but yeah, he kicked one goal, he missed a couple of bad ones. He was pretty fucking useless still. He played half right.
He won't
I
care,
think-
he's getting $1 million bucks a year.
Well, after that performance against us, I mean, you can definitely call me a Tom Boyd deal lover.
Who was he playing on?
I think
Frawley most of the
He wasn't
game,
even on
Frawley.
Gibson, was he?
and Frawley gave him a bath.
it's also Stratton. Apparently, he just found Jake Stringer in his pocket again because the useless turd has been crap for 2 weeks.
Stratton fucking molested him, though.
Yeah, but Sean Dempster gave him a new arsehole, and so was Stratton.
Yeah, the whole comparisons to Gary Ablett after
Did you
round
slide
one was a bit
something to
premature.
the package?
Is there anything else to be saying on that game? Look, Bob Murphy.
Unfortunately, like, it's such a sad thing to have happened to such a good bloke, and I don't say that sarcastically, unlike when people say it about Hodgie.
Well, it's because he's not a good bloke.
So yeah, no, that does overshadow like what was a fantastic high standard game, and I'm sure these sides will have many a battle in September over the years.
Yeah,
Maybe just not this year.
Only if round 23 goes into September.
No, I mean we can always beat the Dogs in a prelim.
Don't need to win a final first.
You're not as gleeful as I thought you'd be.
Me?
Mm.
What? I
No,
thoroughly enjoyed watching them get beaten. I thoroughly enjoyed every part of the fact that they thought they had it won and they didn't. Suck shit. Eat the most giant bag of dicks, you fucking morons. You haven't achieved anything. Anything at all. You have not achieved.
They've achieved less than Richmond, but get twice the price.
Oh,
What?
Ooh.
Didn't they win the VFL premiership last year or something?
and that's something that
No, didn't Hawthorn beat them?
no, they didn't, because they left Cyril on the bench and they left all those players on the ground that couldn't walk.
Yeah, that's right. Liam Jones played well. That's why Carlton took him. They loved his VFL form.
No, that's when Jordan Russell captained a premiership.
Let's go to St Kilda over Collingwood. Look, we've discussed Pendlebury. Cooksen spilled his goo. Is there anything really left to add?
No.
Josh Bruce, like
No.
97% game time, just ran, hustled, harried, and Paddy McCartan, better than Tom Boyd, despite playing 40% of the game time and being concussed for most of it.
And also Jack Billings, better than Bontempelli, I think.
Yeah, I
haven't
mean,
seen
God,
the two
no,
this
let's not
weekend.
go overboard. Cook,
Amanda
I think.
Clay started melting because people said Stringer was shit after he pots Billings after one game. So Amanda Clay, you can suck dicks.
Boogie, please get some perspective. You weren't playing against fucking Hawthorn.
Hey, win's a win for us. I mean, I had no hope, so... Woo.
You didn't have hope. You tipped him. Shut up.
Apparently the Colas versus the Giants was a pretty good game. Contested. But the-
Relatively to all the other previous games between those two.
Parker took a good
Yeah.
mark. That's about all I saw.
The Giants were in that, but I think they just like the polish at times, and the Swans do look pretty ominous when they have their stars up and firing, which they do. No injunctions going on or anything.
Oh, Kurt Tippett dropped a fucking mark that went straight through his fingers, like under no pressure. He's just standing there waiting for the ball to come to him, and it just fucking clean bowls him. So he's still, once a spud, always a spud.
I'd say it's concerning for GWS because Phil Davis, who was complete gun, has been injured for most of the year, and he's a key part of that team. So have the Gold Coast gone past him, maybe?
What's more concerning is John Patton buying a house in Richmond over the weekend.
Oh, did he?
Mm-hmm.
Why would you buy a place in Richmond?
Why would you if you lived in the greater Western Sydney area?
Yeah, but you could pick other suburbs other than Richmond.
Well, I'm just saying
Pretty
that's
much
where he
so.
bought the house.
Inner East ain't bad. Tom Boyd could buy.
Is it a
4
developing area or something? Or is
What, Richmond? No, it's just...
No, because it's close to the city, so he's obviously planning on moving to a club there's about 4 clubs within close range of there. Obviously not Hawthorn.
Yeah, I get.
I actually heard Jager O'Meara bought a house in Dingley.
Oh, good. Just near the freeway. Go pop down to Seaford. Smart man, Jaeger.
You're not going to be there for very long. The only people who move there, Penal or Hawthorn.
And rubbish.
and
So Hawthorn.
and pieces of shit that float downstream.
Nothing else on Colas versus Giants then?
No.
Interesting about Patton. Puffers versus Essendon on Friday night. Look, there wasn't much out of this game. Puffers did away with them pretty easy, skied pretty hard. So the only thing that I noticed is the jumpers. Both teams' jumpers.
Would have Goddard say,
Cool.
man who points fingers?
Because they don't even know their names, the guys that are playing for Essendon. Hey, you, top up number 6.
No, got it. No. I don't think there's anything written on Essendon's jumpers. Essendon's jumpers look like Melbourne.
What was the
I'll say
thread that
this.
popped out about the jumpers? Was it Don the 2 black lines? Because that's pretty much all it was just red and like 2 lines.
You know what it reminds me of? It's such an Essendon thing. You know how they have the blue lights in toilets so that people don't shoot up?
Yeah, and on buses.
Yep. Yeah, so it's like Essendon's jumpers kind of like the lines on either side of the vein before going under the blue light, so they know where the vein is. That's the 2 black
Yeah.
lines. Like,
And it
gonna
fits so perfectly with that fucking drug-addled club.
yes, exactly.
I'm going to say this. For all the states, like, censorship in China, they let that piece of shit through. I mean, sorry,
You
China.
nicked that from Titus, didn't you?
Probably. Also, Port Adelaide not well liked in China, according to my Chinese mate. They support red for communists, so... Ooh.
I did really like the work of the CCTV commentators, though. I think Jason Lee was one of the guys' name, but he's already gone past, BT, Hamish, and fucking Dwayne. So
Yeah,
Nice.
I
Get him
guess
on
he
Channel
actually called
7.
the game, so even if he speaks Mandarin, he'll probably still be more tolerable than those dickheads.
sign him
Yeah,
up.
but it's
Fucking
funny
Ash
that
TV's gone past BT and the rest of the Channel 7 groups.
Ash TV's gone backwards
Nah.
this year. Bring back the desk. The other thing about that is the jumpers, Port's jumpers. It's just like Essendon's. You said Essendon's was like theirs. Port's is like theirs. They'll put anything on it for a cheap bit of money. Like, no one knew about that before the game, but hey, let's put some Chinese names on it.
They are a plastic franchise that's desecrating the name of a cent.
It's basically like the bogan Port Adelaide supporters getting Chinese tattoos on their arms.
Maybe they can sing Never Tear Us Apart in Chinese. Let's see what that would sound like.
Let's move on to the derby, and well, Fremantle is 0-3. Didn't break 100 points again. It's our 100th episode, and Ross Lyon also celebrated a milestone last week, 100th game in charge of Fremantle. I think our 100th is going a lot better and has been more productive for everyone involved, whereas Fremantle must seriously be thinking about getting that axe out of the shed.
Teach alone by himself just scores a lot more than Fremantle. So with all us put together, much more productive. Yes.
Are we convinced by West Coast at all after their piss poor efforts
No,
against Hawthorn, or is it just
no,
Fremantle
no.
is shit?
No, not convinced by West Coast. I still refuse to be convinced by them.
They still need to win at the G.
Look,
They have nightmares about that ground.
if Freo have to rebuild, this just makes Pav's decision to play on even worse. He's going to have to sit through a shit truck of a last year with no fucking hope after
no-
they twisted his arm to play.
So that essentially encapsulates his entire Fremantle career. No hope, surrounded by shit trucks, and coaches who are useless as crab's arsehole.
You don't sound angry at all.
Well, it's going to be fun. It is going to be fun for us to watch Lion try to take on a rebuild. Probably not too fun for the Fremantle players, but at least we'll have a laugh.
Drafting all the Zach Dawsons and Dean Polos out of the
Clint
drafts.
Jones and Robert Eddy are ready to go for Fremantle. They'll look good in purple.
We'll move on from that game. What about Richmond Crows? Do we have anything on that?
The Wayne Malera kids looked good.
Adelaide, very good football side.
Yeah, but they were at
Particularly
Etihad.
at the
Like
dome.
you got to factor in the Etihad factor.
Yes,
they
of
do.
course.
They play phenomenal football at Etihad.
They could be premiership contenders.
If finals were played at Etihad.
Yeah, so them and the Dogs are in a bit of trouble.
But shit.
But no, not a whole lot else to take out of that game. We were pretty bad, and it was comical. And look, I can't throw any more pot shots at Richmond except to say that Hardwick still seems to think we're going to play finals. I don't know what he bases this on, but
Hopes and dreams.
he needs to get a new Mystic Dildo to look into because the one he's got at the moment, nah.
He's basing it on your convincing 9-point win against last year's Wooden Spooners.
Speaking of last year's Wooden Spooners, they got rolled by the Suns, still without a win. Suns pretty convincing. Again.
Aaron Hall played well. That's about it.
Again.
Yeah, Aaron Hall again.
Aaron Hall, 9 votes.
Do we have a nickname for Aaron Hall? We got the Mailman. Do we want to have one for Hall?
Oh, he's 3 votes now. He's like Chris Judd.
3 votes? 3.
I'm just going to call it Bog, because he's been BOG 3 weeks in a row now.
Bog Hall.
Bog Hall.
Aaron Bog. Aaron likes to bog.
I think that sentence is missing a mister.
How about Hall Bog, and then he's like the NRL player. Nothing else on Carlton vs. Look, this is one of those games that doesn't matter. I think the Suns smacked them.
This is where the coach lied. This game did not matter.
Is Jack Martin starting to show why he was pick 1 in his draft? Oh, he wasn't a pick 1, was he? Or
It was a mini draft thing like Jager.
but he was rated as like the top kid in
Yeah, he was a top 17-year-old, but they took him a year early.
Okay.
Because they were able to, like Jesse Hogan.
He's starting to show some good signs.
And Lynch is looking good, so again.
Well, yeah,
He's on top of the Coleman.
He's picked up from last year. He's having a really good start to the year.
And he signed a fat new contract last week as well.
Not as good as.
And he deserves it more than fucking Boyd.
And he's yet another key forward Carlton will not get their hands on.
Also, just quietly, Wiedering looked pretty good so far.
Got the Rising Star nom this week.
Yeah, they didn't spot that pickup.
It's a pretty strong field so far, the 3 that have been nominated. And there's still a couple more to come. Malera got mentioned earlier, and there's probably a few others that I'm forgetting. Cats over the Bryans. I think we said last week, Brisbane are going to play a lot of games that don't matter.
You're going to fail to win a lot of games without your 3 best players, and Brisbane can't afford to have their 3 missing. But unfortunately, when you've got quad strikes, you don't get to play. So, bad luck.
Gee, someone's not bitter at all.
I'm not bitter. I'm not the one with quad strikes. Quad strikes are what you get when you take too many drugs.
Geelong skied, and Dangerfield and Selwood were dominant. And, this is what happens when you play a pretty shit team like the Bryans, I guess.
Still a 2-man team.
Let's go to the talking points. And we'll begin with Hawthorn's membership video. Penal.
Oh boy.
It was your idea.
A while ago you said I would defend anything my club does. And it's true. Like, this is not a big deal. I mean, it's a bit of fun. Players clearly had fun and got to make a little bit of money doing it. So let's see what the fuss about.
I heard they got paid extra for appearing in this. 48% extra on their base wage, I believe.
I mean,
we do love that number.
How can you make a mistake? You've won 3 flags in a row. That should be the easiest membership campaign of all time. They found a way to mess it up. I mean, that's astounding.
Well, we're not bandwagoners, Cookie. We don't want to try and entice those types of fans who are just enticed by success.
Are already bandwagoners.
No, we want people to embrace the family values that the Hawthorn Football Club is synonymous with.
It's
so drink riding.
You ditch the Power Ranger and then you go with this. It's just like you're like Essendon whenever I mentioned Essendon the other week. It's like when Essendon, whenever they take the right step, they go and do the wrong thing straight after. That shows they didn't learn anything. This is you guys dumping the Power Ranger going, but let's make a One Direction video. Oh, God. And if those fuckwits are at the grand final this year, Penal, your club is to blame.
Hang on, I haven't seen this video. What's this video all about?
They sing One Direction, and you know what? It probably couldn't be any worse, but
They
it's still
didn't.
cringeworthy. If this
hang on.
happened at a game, it would be worse than never tear up our tarps. It's just,
It was as bad as the Crows Christmas video. I'll say even worse, actually.
You should have moved to Tasmania like Jeff Kennett wanted you to. Then no one would know about this sort of thing.
Oh, here it is. I'm just going to listen to it now. Hang on.
Did anyone actually catch that about Jeff Kennett wanted to move Hawthorn to Tassie 2 years ago?
Oh, God. I'm 10 seconds in and I'm already struggling.
Now we've got 17. That's pretty cool. But the record is breaking and we need 73.
Make it stop.
Strong.
Make it stop.
We're signing
Oh,
on.
it's Chip Crawley.
Aren't you?
Oh, no.
Doing way. Got a whole lot of history.
You know the worst thing is some of these players do not need to be doing this. These are champion players who know better. This isn't even the fucking Sean Makers or Sicily's
Starburns-
or who haven't done anything yet.
Penal. If we end up getting One Direction at the grand fucking final, it'll be your club's fault.
You should be deregistered.
This will be worse.
It's-
I would rather have Meatloaf for 10 hours as a pre-match entertainment than have One Direction.
Well, the good thing is we were singing like we've got a whole lot of history, and that's fucking something that only a few clubs can say. Like Port Adelaide, Port Adelaide established 1997. They can't sing that song, so we're just proud of our history and proud of our family club values.
Be proud of your history and your family values and all that bullshit, but you don't have to sing some gay hipster fucking song about it.
I think the hipsters are annoyed by that. LW would be turning in his grave if he was dead. Dead to big footy. You did mention the Puffers, and one other point that got mentioned is Gillon's going to China. He's going along with Malcolm Turnbull.
Yeah, to announce some sponsorship.
Is he flying in to apologise? I hope he's taking K-Rad with him. Because nobody knows how to speak Mandarin, and that kind needs to say sorry for what we delivered to them.
Why couldn't they go to like Syria or
He's going to
somewhere
China
else?
because of the puffer fish. Like the puffers have put this on the table, so now Gillon's going to.
Maybe
He's going to apologise. That's all
So
it is.
it's like a formal Port Adelaide thing. Is Koshy going?
Chairman Kosh probably. If there's a reason to be seen, of course he's going.
Yeah, I think the whole of Sunrise is going. Sunrise lads from Shenhuan.
The Sunrise Cash Cow.
Sunrise cash cow. The cash cow live from Tiananmen Square.
Morgs, you're at the airport. Can you put some like narcotics in his suitcase or
Put it in
something?
Koshi's.
Get him.
I might cancel his flight home. Fuck him.
Let's move on from that. The out of bounds rule, and this is something that caught my eye. Mark Evans has actually mentioned as a potential change that the out of bounds rule could be
No,
last
I know what
touch.
you're gonna say.
Last touch.
No, that's bullshit. Don't bring that in.
Is that insane? Like, is this deliberate not working already?
My response to that is the same as Dan's. Just no.
No.
No,
Fuck
no,
off.
no.
Fuck off, Jose.
Bad idea.
Let's send Mark Evans to China too.
It's a shit rule, and it would make the umpires' role as harder than what it already is right now. No.
I mean, are they going to pay it for when you've, like, defensively fist the ball over, or if you smother the ball and you get penalised for doing the right
That's what it sounds like.
that's-
It's like that NAB rule from 3 years ago. Remember that?
Then you've got that grey area.
When
I
they
mean,
played
that's,
the...
It sounds like they're trying to ban fisting. It's a joke.
St Kilda's bonding sessions will never be the same.
Hey, we prefer the sock, not the fists.
One other thing, and I just wanted to raise this, is that there's a whole bunch of women's football teams cropping up. Everybody fucking wants one at the moment, it seems. But there's only going to be so many. And I guess the question I want to ask is, considering the Melbourne and the Dogs are certain to get them in Victoria, and the Puffers are going to miss out because they don't have as much history as Adelaide and all the rest elsewhere, would it have not made sense? Like, I don't know, will people still be interested if their team's not in it? And would it have been better to franchise these things? Like, you know, because half the clubs are franchises now anyway. Like, what do we reckon?
Yeah, like it'd be hard to support any team like in the women's league if you've got, say, a Western Bulldogs or something affiliate running out there, but no Hawthorn. Like, who are you gonna get behind?
Yeah.
Just
where's the
probably
interest?
not.
I'll watch it, but I don't know if I'd get behind any team to say.
It's literally, it's worked for the A-League and the Big Bash to franchise their teams. Just because our clubs have history, except for Port.
Will there be a Tasmanian team? Because Hawthorn and North could all support them.
Possibly.
Are there any women in Tasmania?
Well, they're all part of the same gene pool as the men.
Are they?
Well,
Oh,
yeah, there have to be like some sisters for people to have sex with. Like,
It's not New Zealand. Don't resort to sheep.
It's kind of hard because you can have the two Perth teams and like Sydney and GWS and maybe Adelaide, but Melbourne, you probably do need to create at least two clubs.
Oh, they're
You
going
know,
to have
have
four.
one
They're going to
called-
have four in Victoria, but Melbourne and the Dogs are almost certain to get two of them, which means
And Geelong will probably get one.
Geelong. I don't think Geelong will. I don't think St Kilda and North are going to either. It's going to be the other five are going to have two between them.
Females that play sport. Fucking hell.
I have a question. If you have an athlete who becomes a transgender and wants to be known as a woman, can that person play in the women's league?
No, well,
So
Jack
you want
Watts already
Nat
plays for
Fyfe
Melbourne.
or Jack Watts will switch over.
Yeah.
So if
Can't happen.
Bruce Jenner went all Caitlyn Jenner
Yep.
mid-career,
Yeah.
or Natalie Fyfe, I think, is a more prescient example.
would she have been allowed to compete in the decathlon for women?
Yeah.
I don't.
These are the issues that we should be tackling, not who the
Yes,
fuck's
yes.
going to be the next team.
I mean, I would rather support a team of chicks with dicks than the.
Let's put it this way: Bombers 2003 is going to love this league, and Mr. Aaron too. Essendon are obviously getting a team, clearly.
Yeah, the Essendon Twitter stalker brigade is going to love this.
So Dan doesn't care if North have a team as long as there's a team of chicks with dicks.
You're expanding into Thailand now, Dan.
Oh, why not?
Yeah, into the
The
jungles.
Bangkok Bangers.
Leave it alone.
The Thailand transvestites.
Let's move on to the questions. And the first one is from Not Cookie. And since it's our 100th episode and we asked to offer us some questions, and he's asked us what our favourite moment from all of it since we've been on is. So who wants to tackle that one first?
Oh God. There isn't one per se. There's been so many laughs. I mean, the Chariots of Fire was hilarious. There was one time when we had Bender on and the Wrangler on. He was actually hosting it. You weren't doing it at that time. You were out doing something else.
That was the first mention of Jennifer Kite, wasn't it?
Yeah, the Jennifer Kite and the Gooch call, and I pissed myself laughing. I never laughed so hard doing one of these. So those two would probably be my biggest highlights.
Who else has something?
Probably the biggest laugh is when you don't know Jack came out with the moist comment last year. I lost my shit at that.
He make you moist.
So it's probably just the little comments that make everyone lose their shit.
Morgs or Penal?
Yeah, I'm going to have to go with one from the outtakes last year, and that was, I think, Teach giving me parenting advice when I asked a very trollish question, and he took me completely seriously, played it with a straight bat, and tried to give me actual fucking parenting advice.
Still thinks you are one, by the way.
And still to this day thinks you do have a child.
Yes.
Morgs.
I don't know. Yeah, no, I enjoy every week. Every week's a highlight with you.
Oh, come on. There's no bit that made you just extra where you were on. You're like, I was so glad I was on that week for that.
Oh, I don't know. Last week when I got when Teach inducted NL and I into his family, that was
Internet
quite.
family.
Yeah, being Grand Teacher's internet daughter was lovely.
I've had some favourites. There's a lot. And over the past few weeks, I have been digging up some of the older moments that I did quite enjoy. And one that I did like was Dan's rage over Andrew Swallow's leadership when we compared him to unfavourably to.
Was it that funny?
You got really cup about it. It was funny because of how angry you got. But honestly, if I'm going for a number one moment, it has to be the Sue's interview.
Oh, my God. How could I not forget that?
That was just... Dan's a smoker. Brad Scott and James Brayshaw went and egged Sid's house. David Hill's a fucking idiot. The word association... Oh, Jim Boy, the admin, is head of the BA. He's not. He just thinks he is. Yeah, that was my ultimate favourite. Another question from, and it's quite topical, I guess, because we are trying to trim back the listening time a little bit this week. It's from Smeghead. So he wants to know, Smeghead wants to know, actually goes into putting it together and wrangling up the flogs. It's actually, the pre-production is not as difficult as
Right,
it
we have
sounds.
weekly meetings. You know, all meet up at a shopping centre and we all have coffees and stuff.
That's our production meeting. We
Penal has a baby Chino.
Penal brings his chihuahua along.
Listening to fucking 1D on my iPod and just walking in. Be like, sup, guys.
We're in Power Rangers.
And we all go, is anyone going to be there? And Teach says, yeah, I'm going to be there. Yeah, I'm going to be there. Then when 9:30 comes around, he just randomly disappears and tells us the next day, I got a route.
That's what Teach tells me before we go on. It's like, I'm usually on early. I hear all about Teach's sex life.
But yeah, no, it's very much a mess. The PM goes around, who's coming on, people say yes or no, and if there's gaps in the schedule to bring on more flogs, then we go, all right, who's not in the PM, because, you know, Mardo and DB Swanee usually leave, you know.
Sorry, Go Griff.
Yeah, and yeah, sorry, Go Griff, which is a PM meme, which I'll explain the meme. Go Griff used to be in the PM in the early days. We used to go off topic, and it was usually me and Paddles arguing about dumb shit. And Go Griff used to complain, and it was always sorry Go Griff, and that's kind of stuck. So, but no, not a whole lot goes into planning it. We talk for a shitload of time, and I edit for too long. That's the long and short of it.
Tonight we talked for 3 hours about how we're going to cut it down.
Hey, it's cutting down perfectly fine right now.
Well, I'm glad we spent 3 hours discussing it.
This one's directed to Morgs. Cherf wants to know, what should his next hilarious Essendon drug scandal related post be, Morgs?
Look, as somebody who is never short of an opinion, whatever you have been doing, Chief, do the opposite. Because it's been fucking pathetic. You literally have been swinging and missing at every opportunity. So if you could actually land a punch, that'd be great.
He might land a punch on you and chuck you in the naughty corner with no likes and no posts for a week.
Oh, is this like how I got my like function back and I can post red?
I only put it on for an hour just for the lols. See, that's the thing, you melted, and I was only going to lock the thread for an hour, and you posted a thread and you got Amstaff riled up. So I left it for 3 hours.
How easily did I get all those court flogs on board? And then they were all like, hey, why isn't she getting in trouble? Like, fucking snitches.
Snitches
fucking
get stitches.
snitches they are.
Oh,
they'll fucking find out.
The only other question that I'm going to offer is, Fan Peoples wants to know, will Ross coach Collingwood or Richmond? Fucking Collingwood. It better be fucking Collingwood.
Richmond.
You're all cunts. You are all cunts.
Yep, Richmond.
I hate you.
Richmond.
And then they sing like, I don't know, some jungle themed song. I Have the Tiger or something. Welcome to the jungle.
We already played that before the game. We played that before the game too.
What about Katy Perry's Raw? You guys should hire me.
We don't sing.
I've got the eye of the tiger.
Okay, so before we move on to this week on the Bay, we've been at this for 100 episodes. We've learnt a lot of things, and the top 5 was a staple for quite a long time. It's kind of faded away because it's harder to coming up with things.
It takes an hour to do.
We don't pre-plan as much as we used to. So the top 5 things we have learnt over these 100 episodes of the Flogcast. Number 5, cookie.
Andrew Sweller is the worst leader of all time.
Number 4, Penal.
That Bruce McAvaney knows what the combination of goo and tears tastes like.
Number 3, Morgs.
You can tell the future by looking into a mystic dildo.
Number 2, Dan.
There actually is something at East Geelong.
And the number 1 thing we've learnt during the Flogcast, it's pronounced Elias.
And Elle and I were shopping. He's rolling his eyes. We were shopping recently and we found a mystic dildo that was actually branded mystic dildo.
Why did you not get a picture?
I did.
Tell me
I've been too embarrassed to post.
Forget the picture.
Like
tell me you purchased it.
No, I didn't purchase it, but it was like a box set, and it said
But
mystic.
It's a mystic dildo. You could look into it.
I know. I'll post a picture.
You could give us lotto numbers and tell us who's going to win the grand final this year.
I can just tell you when you're next going to get laid.
Just
Never.
Morgs, there's only one thing you need to tell us, and that's where to find it, because I'm man enough to go in there and buy that, and I'll take the
He has no
picture
shame.
for everyone.
It was at Sexyland.
There is no line I will not cross. You guys have found that out already about me over the last 3 years.
So this week on the Bay, let's go with Thread of the Week. Where do we want to go with Thread of the Week? There's a few options, but does anyone have a nomination?
I do.
Just
Certain
stands out?
supporters hate certain clubs. Take part in the social experiment.
I like that thread from DB Benny. I thought Leave Tron Alone from Bosk wasn't bad either.
I did a thread, and now you're a fucking sook.
I'll go for bathwater again, because, fuck the dogs.
All right, so
Go.
and does anyone else have one?
Yeah, I'll go with bathwater.
It sounds like Bathwater's probably going to win then.
I'll go for DB then if it's going to vote.
Well, I'll go for bathwater.
Oh, and I guess
You can't vote for yourself.
Well,
I can do what I
well,
want.
she did. Oh,
I'm
it's the
voting
fucking.
for me. I'm voting for the people who contribute.
Come on, is
Go.
this the 100th? This is the 100th episode, and you two are going to give reach rounds?
Yes.
No, I'm going to captain's pick this, and fuck that,
captains,
fuck
off.
that, and it's going to DB.
Well, I'm
Storm.
going to talk shit for the next 20 minutes, and I hope you have to cut it all out.
I will.
Wah.
It'll be easy. And Flog of the Week time. Look, I'm going to captain's pick this one too. It goes to a Twitter user by the name of Straffo. I believe he posts on Big Footy. I'm not sure what his name is. I don't think he has one.
He may have been given flog of the off season some time ago.
You man or woman? Man or woman?
Man, but as I said, I don't think he's got a name.
Okay.
Yeah, but he's mashed the button pretty hard. We're not fans of button mashes here, especially when you.
He might be one of them sort of eunuch types.
And he's mashed the button pretty hard. He's had a big sook over a certain thread about because he's a Twitter social justice warrior, and there was a thread about him, and he mashed pretty hard about it, and he posted about how he's mashing on it on Twitter. But yeah, he got the thread shut down, and yeah, he didn't like people calling him out. And I think once you mash the button, you've lost the war, if you hadn't lost it already.
I would like to give this honourable mention to Man of Clay for once again proving he's a spineless chicken shit who likes giving shit to other teams' players but can't take it when his own team plays like shit. Keep drinking the bathwater, you wanker.
Good one, Cookie.
Just honorable mention to Morgs for voting for herself, like a reach around.
and Cookie for letting it happen. He shouldn't get off scot-free. It's the second week in a row he's nominated Morgs and let other people vote her in.
Teaching Penal can have their romantic thing, then I'm sure we can have reach arounds. What goes around comes around.
Yeah, but
Theirs is true love.
Teach just white knights me all the time, like people do, like white knighting on Twitter. That's just Teach. Teach does that for me.
No one likes
different.
No one likes a Twitter white knight who pretends that they're not trying to screw the Twitter attention whores that they follow, but really they are, and that's transparent to
What if
everyone.
one user's contribution is good at the bay for them?
Yeah, so is DB Swannies, unless you're Northern Lights.
Don't be misquoting him, and I liked the thread.
Oh.
You just should make more like that and less looking at
Don't you have a 50-word essay due tomorrow or something?
50-word essay is actually grade 5 work, isn't it?
Yeah, it is. That's just. You mean like a 1,000-word essay?
That's too much.
50 words on what did you do on your school holidays. Northern Lights. I went to the dildo store.
Oh, he found a stick dildo.
Let's move on. Tips, West Coast versus Richmond.
West Coast.
Weagles.
Yeah, we're not going to win this.
West Coast by big margin.
Sack Hardwick. Hashtag Sack Hardwick.
Hashtag I'll be skiing on Friday night.
Essendon versus Geelong. Does anyone give Essendon a chance in hell?
No.
No. Is this going to be the first 100-point loss of the season? Geelong seem to be skiing pretty well.
Is this being played in Geelong? I didn't realise it was being played in hell.
No, it's at the MCG.
Oh, okay. So it's not in hell.
No.
Okay, next.
Cats. Yeah.
Sound the air raid sirens.
Hawks versus the Saints down in Tassie.
Hawks.
Hawks pretty comfortably, I'd say.
St
Yeah,
Kilda. Fucking we do it.
Bit of a danger game always is coming off a
come
tight win,
on.
but I think we should still win, but we can't afford to underestimate
You're full of
St Kilda. No, we just can't be too complacent like say
There's
Melbourne
no
were
such
against
thing as a
Essendon.
danger game for Hawthorn, and you know
Get
it.
him the Mystic Dildo because he needs to see this result.
And put it in his
We'll-
mouth.
we'll-
We can't hear him talk anymore.
I think we'll win by 5 or 6 goals. We just can't be too complacent about it.
Wank.
Brisbane Lions versus Gold Coast.
Gold Coast.
This is a game that doesn't.
The
game doesn't
sound
matter.
of the March Giants.
Suns to go
draw.
4-0.
I'm tipping a draw.
Draw.
Draw. Why not?
Well, it is the 100th episode, and you are famous for tipping draws on here, so...
Exactly. Yeah, so I have to tip a draw.
I'll pick the Suns.
Yeah, sounds easy.
Suns at 4-zip. Aaron Hall, another 3 votes, probably.
12 votes.
The bog.
For the bog.
Bog.
The bog.
The Boganator, 12 votes.
Carlton versus Bathwater. Geez, if there was a game for the Dogs to bounce back.
Oh, and won't they just be stamping themselves on the competition? Glug, 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 glug.
Yep, they'll be hungry and out for a bit of blood this game, and Carlton, I reckon, will also cop their first 100-point thrashing of the season.
Yeah, Dogs.
Doggies.
Dogs to win, but Wiedering to give Boyd a bath to show what a real number one
that's
draft
going
pick
out
should
on
play
a limb.
like.
Oh, God.
Did you tip, or you just...
Dead. Glug, 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 glug,
Okay,
glug.
sorry. Probably the match of the round, actually. Crows versus the Kohlers at Adelaide Oval. Look, if this was at Etihad, I'd pick the Crows, but it's not, so I'm going to go the Kohlers.
I'm still going to tip the Crows.
I'm going to go the Coppers.
I don't think Sydney have shown anything.
Adelaide with Kurt Tippett being a late withdrawal.
He's still yet to play there,
Adelaide.
He
isn't he?
still hasn't fucking played there.
No.
Not against the Crows. He's been there against Port,
Yeah.
but never against the Crows.
He's going to get another case of soft cockitis. And he's not going to turn up. So I'm going to go with Adelaide.
I'm going to go Adelaide just.
Okay, that's everyone. Okay.
Well, you don't know Jack tipped yet?
Next game, Giants versus the Puffers. This one could be close-ish. The Puffers do have a bit of a false form line going. Giants for me.
Robbie
Giants.
Gray's been in good form.
Will Chingard play?
For my super coach, I hope so. But I'll go Giants.
Giants, please.
It's a tough game, but Giants by under a goal. Like, they're going to be really close.
At least the good people of China will get a dame this week. Ooh, Collingwood versus Melbourne.
I'm going to tip
Reckon
another
Melbourne.
draw.
Melbourne by 10 goals.
Yeah, Melbourne to win with Jack Watts to kick a bag on that unaccountable halfback flanker Pendlebury.
Flanker is playing on the halfback flank again. I've never walked out of a game before, but I'm not going to sit by and watch that unaccountable cunt bury my team.
Because your team's best player and you're just ripping into him. I don't get this.
Yeah, I just can't believe it.
Yeah, well, did you watch the game?
No, I was at the Richmond game. I had my own
Exactly
problems.
right. No, so you watch your best player play in a position that means nothing,
Well,
and
perhaps-
play. It was like that game last year where he said about how it meant nothing. That's the mentality
Perhaps
in which he
your
played.
I watched
should
our
be
best player play on Eddie
pointed
Betts
at
because they would
Buckley
rather
rather
play
than
do that than
Milbury.
him on Tex. Yeah.
Well, Fran's got his pants pulled down. I'm sorry about that, but I'm not going to turn around and say that he wouldn't have liked it.
What?
Not there's anything wrong with that.
No, there isn't anything wrong with that. I expect better of my best player, so I'm going to demand more.
Oh.
Hollywood.
I don't think he's playing in that position by choice. I think Buckley's putting him there, Morgs.
Well, do something about it. If you're the captain of the team, surely you can say, hey, this is not working. Or take it upon yourself to put yourself in a better position. Or maybe just man up. No one's asking him. No one's asking him to not man up, Dan.
Maybe you could jump the fence and tell him that.
No, oh, well, trust me, I was almost at that point. No one's asking him to not man up.
Morgs had probably hurt her toe.
I'll go for Collingwood just.
Yeah, I think everyone's tipped,
No,
yeah? Except you, Jack.
I'm tipping. I've tipped a draw. I think there's going to be 2 draws this round.
I think you've tipped 3. You tipped 3, didn't you? Didn't you tip 1?
No, I'm only just. I can.
No.
tip 3.
Well, if you want to tip North, Fremantle would be a draw.
No, I'm not going to tip that at all.
When was the last time there were 2 draws in one round?
Well, it's
It happened
before.
once a couple of years ago.
Dan,
So
do
we-
There
we
was like 2 in the
tip any
first. There was 3 in the first 2
So
weeks of a year.
We're due.
I think it was Richmond and St Kilda and Melbourne and someone. Yeah. Does anyone think Freo don't start 0-4 with Sandilands?
No,
fuck?
0-4.
No Sandilands. Goldstein's going to do what he likes. He's going to get 63
Postman's
hit-outs
gonna
and kick
kick
5
a-
goals. He's going to do both.
The mailman is going
Mail-
to.
The mailman. I said the
The
post.
mailman is going to have an influx of money.
Is it the postman or the mailman?
He's the
Mailman.
mailman, and he's
The
going
mailman.
to post He's going to put his stamp on this game. Don't you worry about that.
The stamp of X.
Oh,
X
put on
marks the
tush.
spot.
Stamp on the competition. Yeah, and I
what?
reckon Andrew Swallow will have a rare good game and play well in the midfield for once. And North are going to win.
Oh, well,
North
that's
to win.
nice when a captain plays in the midfield.
North to win with the young lad Prima Harvey getting another 3 goals. Looks a good
All out the
prospect.
back.
3 goals within 10 metres.
There's no 30-meter wind at Etihad.
When did Collingwood play North? I'm looking forward to the Boomer Pendlebury matchup.
Boomer will kick 17 goals on the unaccountable cunt.
And,
Unaccountable cunt.
yeah, it's
I-
it's savage, isn't it? It's absolutely.
It is. It's so savage.
It's
It's the
just
captain of the
brutal.
team that you support, and he's your best player.
Yeah,
and
it's
Yes.
it's disgusting.
tearing him to shreds.
She's protecting
Uh-huh.
the coach.
Unlike you, who's going to hang my coach out to protect
He
my
fucking
piss out of a
deserves
cap.
it.
Aw, but hey, don't talk about Trent, guys.
I gave Trent the tears last week. I'm throwing tears everywhere.
Well, keep throwing those tears around, Tiger Boy.
Hey,
In fairness,
sorry.
Pendlebury was complete
Right,
shit.
he hasn't deserved this.
Up until these first 3 games,
He was that bad.
Disgusting.
what would everyone regard Pendlebury as?
Not halfback flanker.
So, based on just these 3 games, you're going to rip into him.
Yes, Jaden Short should not have kicked 3 goals on him.
He kicked a couple this week too. He actually looks okay.
I think
Yeah,
you got to
look
He's,
short memory.
he's no James Sicily.
His career will not be short.
The guy's been like a top 3 player of the competition
Yeah,
for
no.
like the last 6 or 7 years. Yeah.
Okay, well, considering that you didn't see the game, you don't get to comment.
Morg's yelling at clouds here.
Yeah.
I didn't have to see the game. I knew he was playing in a
I saw the
halfback
game and Morgs has a point. I don't know if calling him a cunt is the best way to solve all the problems, but you've got a point.
She's got a point.
Best
like
midfield
Maxwell
on the
has a
ground
point.
was not in the midfield.
Well, there's a reason why he's playing there. I mean, Buckley's just not doing it for shits and giggles.
I'm not saying that.
He's doing it because he doesn't have a clue.
I'm not saying that he shouldn't be played off halfback, but if you're going to play there, be fucking accountable. No one's asking him to stand there and let people run around him.
Well, maybe his role is to be a
That's not-
rebounding defender, not a lockdown defender.
That's fine, but when they put a fucking goal-scoring opponent on him, he needs to defend them.
Two men. This was the Flogcast for round 4. Starburns joined by Cooksen,
Raise your bets, everyone. 100 episodes of witness history.
Dan,
Pendlebury, you are a star. Keep doing what you're doing.
Morgs,
Bring back Scott Embleberry.
and Penal.
Fucking brain power these days, but yeah.
Brain
See ya.
fart.
Brain fart, yeah. That name is about as good as Pendlebury's game, Penal.
It's a fucking great name. Considering I was coming off the fucking low base of Penal, I don't see how it's any worse.
Thanks for listening this week and the previous 99 weeks, and we'll see you next week.